So here is a training video that I will be performing to help you guys out and to save everyone a little bit of time, and so that everyone is guaranteed to have the exact same knowledge going into patrol and stuff. So I'm going to start with a traffic stop because that's a pretty simple one, and most likely what you guys will be performing probably the entire time. You at least have probably one throughout the entirety of the roleplay, unless you're doing something special like a SWAT patrol or something, and we're doing something like that, or something else that you're doing over the course of the patrol. Like if you're a detective, you're probably be investigating and talking to people instead of performing traffic stops, but you'll likely have to perform a traffic stop at some point, especially when you first start. Probably be the only thing you're really able to do apart from other crimes that happen, like pursuits and stuff, but you probably won't be the main focus of those. You'll probably be released really early into it. So with a traffic stop, you want to obviously turn on your lights or honk your air horn if you're in a custom cop car, because once you pass the probationary period and you move on to like the second rank within your department, you get access to a custom cop car which you can use, and it's a little bit faster than these. It doesn't have the light bar though or anything like that, so I do tend to see some people use these default cars. I like to use the default cars for a couple of reasons, with one being with how you can block traffic really easy by doing this. You're able to block traffic pretty easy, and traffic won't drive around you. And if you back up slightly and only go halfway in the roadway, they will drive around you. Maybe I'm not far enough back, but at a certain point they will drive around you. I don't know, he's being impatient. Anyway, they won't drive into your car, which is nice. But for a traffic stop, what you want to do is find a nice spot to pull over. Like, right here's a pretty good spot. Right there across the street's a pretty good spot. Really anywhere that's not like gonna leave you exposed on the roadway. And typically what you want to do is you want to angle your car slightly out, pointing outwards. A, it gives you a better run if they take off. You can get in your car and immediately go. And two, it helps you out if they were to start shooting at you. You have some good cover to take place right here. You can take some good cover and pop off a few shots, maybe get a tire if you need to, because if they were to start shooting from the inside of their vehicle at you, you have good cover. You can go to the rear of the car and you have some good cover, because you can't really get to the rear of the car there, because that was the furthest back I could get while still hitting the car, and it hit right there where the number's located. You can see the bullet hole in it. So you always angle your car outwards. You also never walk in this little zone here during a traffic stop, or really any scenario where there is a vehicle with a driver inside of it. Unless the driver's out of the vehicle, there's no reason you should be walking right here, because it's as simple as he hits it in reverse and runs you completely down. If you're trying to get their license plate tag, you want to stand off center slightly, and you can look. See right here, you can clearly see it's 04 Nora Williams Union 605. Might be slightly difficult depending on the license plate, but typically you're able to see it. Even with that, you can come around back here. You can also see it. What you don't want to do is pull out a sniper or a gun and aim it down to look at the license plate. That's not realistic, and it's definitely going to get you a warning within the server or something like that. If you want to go to the passenger side, because you don't want to be on the driver's side, because obviously driver's side, you're already on the driver's side, so it works fine to come up here, talk to the driver, but you also risk of being on the road and getting hit by traffic. So if you're on the highway or something, you kind of want to go to the passenger side. So if you were to get on a traffic stop, you obviously don't walk in front of your cop car, you walk behind it. and then since you walk behind it, he can't run you over, and you did just fine. You then are able to come up to the passenger side. You stop a little, like right here where the door handle is, so you're not square on, so it's still hard for them to hit you. You come up and perform a normal traffic stop. So for a traffic stop, you will typically radio into dispatch your call sign. You're on a 1011. You will give the a brief description of where you're located. So you would typically pull over. You have your sirens on. I turn it off so you guys can hear me much better, but you wait for a moment on the radio. Once you get a spot in the radio traffic, because obviously you don't want to talk over people, you want to keep it nice and short, so you do your call sign. You say you're on Joshua Road, across from the medical station, a little past the billboard. You say it's going to be a 1011 on a Weasel News van in silver in color, and then you're done. That's all you have to do. They don't care much about your traffic stop apart from the fact that you're on Joshua Road and it's a Weasel News van. It's silver in color. That's it. If he takes off or you get shot or something while on scene, they know exactly what they're looking for. They're looking for a silver in color Weasel News van. Obviously, your dash cam will have the license plate, and your ALPR will also have the license plate, because all cop cars are equipped with ALPRs in modern day 2022. You also have your dash cam. You got your body cam. There's a law that states you literally have to have your body cam rolling during scenes like this, like traffic stops, pursuits, deadly force, things like that. So once you radio it in, you're able to get out of your car, go to the driver's side, go to the passenger side, whatever you feel most comfortable with. So you walk up. As I said, you won't walk completely way up to here or something. This is asking to get shot in the face. You're standing a little back here. You're state your name, and then you're asked for state your rank, then your name. So like if you're a trooper, you say Trooper Ross or Trooper Woodson, something like that. If you're a senior trooper, you go, I'm Senior Trooper Ross, or I'm Senior Trooper, and then you just do whatever your roleplay character's last name is. I prefer you have your character registered within the CAD system in case you're like an off-duty. You can still roleplay as that character if you really wanted to. So you just come up, you're asking why you stopped them. They'll give you some smart answer probably. Either they'll say I don't know, or they'll give you some stupid answer like they typically do. Then you just ask for the license, registration, proof, insurance, because you have to have all three on a traffic stop. You get their information. You're asked them to confirm the name on the license just to make sure. If it's a weird name you've never heard of before, you're asking them to spell it in in-game chats, just to make sure you get it right. Sometimes they have weird names. Sometimes they got pretty common names like Richard Ross or something like that. You can easily get Richard Ross or something. So you get into your car. You will open up your CAD. You run their name. You can run their license plate right here. Cars should be registered to their name as well. Well, maybe not this one because it's a company van, but it might be registered to them. It might be registered to Weasel News. Never hurts to run the license plate. Maybe it's stolen. So you always run the license plate. You always run their name. You do whatever you want to do. You either write them a warning or you write them a ticket. Whatever you feel like writing them. There's no ticket quota, so give out as many warnings as you feel like being. Be as much of a nice guy or be as much of an asshole as you want to be. So then you come up here. If it's a ticket, you're asked them to sign at the bottom. It's not an admission to guilt. It's just saying you will take care of it in courts. If it's a written warning or a fix-it ticket, you're just give them. They don't have to sign for anything. Fix-it tickets are typically 24 hours from the date you wrote the ticket. So you tell them in 24 hours, if you still haven't got it fixed, you will get a fine. The fine's listed at the bottom, and it's whatever the fine is for the normal violations. So like if it's a window tint violation, that's like $500. I'm pretty sure it's either $250 or $500, something weird like that, something high for window tint. And if they haven't paid in 24 hours, they will receive a fine. if they get pulled over, because there is no second fix-it ticket. They'll get another fix-it ticket most likely, but they'll also have to pay the fine because they've already been given a fix-it ticket. Typically when you write a fix-it ticket, I prefer you put it in the CAD as a warning so that officers know that they've received a warning for their window tint already. So if you pull them over again and they have a window tint warning, that's basically our way of saying, hey, they've received a fix-it ticket already. They know about the window tint. They know they can't have it. They've been asked to get it removed, and if they haven't removed it, then you give them a ticket, give them another fix-it ticket, and you carry on with your day. Let's say you ran their name, and it comes back is they have a warrant for their arrest. Like they have a warrant for failure to appear. That's a lesser crime. You just ask them to get out of the car. But let's say you run their name in the CAD, and it comes back with a warrant for kidnapping or a warrant for assault on a police officer. You're radioing the dispatch saying that you're requesting a code 5 at your traffic stop. You give them the road name, and you'll probably get 2 officers to show up. They'll park alongside of you. You might need to back up slightly to get officers next to you. You'll probably have one to your passenger side, one to your driver's side. You get out, you get your gun out, you ask them to step out of the car. Typically you keep your door open. Sometimes it's hard to do, sometimes it's not, depends on who you are. You ask them to get out, face away from us, because there would be more on scene, and tell them to walk back to the sound of your voice. They walk back to you, you cuff them, throw them in the back of the car, and then figure it out from there. Traffic stops are typically the more easier ones to do, and those are the more common ones. There's occasionally you run into the drunk guy or the old person that doesn't know what they're doing, and you'll sometimes run into the person that isn't registered in CAD. I know it's annoying when we have people that roleplay where they're not in the community, or they're not registered in the CAD, or they're having CAD issues. Typically if that happens, just go in the out of character chat, let them know, hey, ask them if they're in the community and they're in the CAD. If they are, then maybe you're spelling something wrong, so double check your spellings. And if they're still not in the CAD and you can't find anything, just alert an admin or something like that, because they have to be registered in the CAD in order to be role-playing. If they're not in the CAD, that's kind of a problem because of the fact that you can't run their name. License plate doesn't really matter, because if their license plate's not in the CAD, that's typically a stolen vehicle, so I would get them out of the car. That would give you reasonable suspicion to get them out of the car and detain them for a little bit, try to confirm and get some other proof that that is their vehicle in fact. So once you're done with the traffic stop, you give them the ticket, written warning, fix-it ticket, whatever it is, and you tell them that once you get back in your car, turn off your lights, you're free to go. If you're in a custom cop car, you're just honk your horn. If you're in a normal cop car like this, you just turn your lights off and they will drive off into the sunset. You're finished filing any paperwork. If you didn't press submit yet because you wanted to make sure that you got the traffic stop done, you will go in your CAD, press submit, your radio in the dispatch, say your call sign, 10-8, back available, off that traffic stop, and dispatch can mark you 10-8, you can go in the CAD, mark yourself 10-8, whatever it is, and you're done with that. So that is a traffic stop. Now let's move on to something else. Alright, so let's try some Code 3 driving, because this is kind of important and something I notice people mess up a lot. And let's say you are driving around, you're patrolling, your whatever department you're in, and let's say a call comes over the radio that there is a armed robbery taking place at the Grove Street LTD. Let's say you're state police, okay? And you have jurisdiction anywhere. You're state police for West Virginia or whatever department you're role-playing in, and you have jurisdiction anywhere. Obviously, if you're a sheriff unit, like it says on the side of the car, you will not respond down to the city. But let's say you are down in the county and there's a robbery down at the LDT and they need units. No matter what department you're in, you flick on your lights and you will respond down to the location that you need to respond to. There's something I notice people do a lot is they do that. They pass on the wrong side. Typically, whenever you are responding Code 3, you respond in the outermost lane, because as everyone knows, that the left lane is the passing lane, not the right lane, the left lane. So you always respond in the left lane. Obviously, if you're in a custom cop car, you don't have this little siren, so that might be slightly difficult. So typically, if you're in a custom cop car, I don't mind if you respond in the right lane to pass the car or something, but see, there's enough space. I don't even need my lights. I can pass here. But like, if you come up and you get a guardrail or something like here, it's a little tight, but still pretty good. But if you need to get some space, like there's you're on like a bridge or something down in the Davis area and you can't respond on this side, then I totally see you going on that one side. But you typically can just respond here with sirens and you are totally fine. You might need to slow down a little bit so you don't plow into people, because these AIs don't pull fully to the correct side. They kind of pull slightly over, but not really. But AIs will pull out of your way as long as you respond in the correct lane. Try not to hit anything as well while you're responding, because you need all your lights and your headlights. See, that guy kind of did that janky thing where he kind of pulled into my way and then finally pulled out. So you kind of want to get out of the gas a little bit as you're coming up to some cars. You don't need to go hauling ass down there. It's better to get down there 10 seconds later than typical. But now you're coming up to an intersection. You typically want to slow down, do that siren, press down your horn button. See, that guy didn't stop. See, this guy's in the way. You just do this. It's your secondary siren. It typically will clear traffic a little bit better, but you want to slow down until traffic has come to a full stop. I don't care if it's a red light, green light. There's a green light, and at least one of these lights are green. So you want to make sure traffic stopped and not moving prior to going into the intersection, because we do have civilians, and not all of them are going to listen. So every intersection, you want to do your secondary siren to clear traffic. That is what I classify as the intersection clear. So if you see traffic, you want to slow down. You want to make sure that no one enters your way and stuff like that. You also want to pay attention to radio traffic. Make sure what's going on in the radio and stuff, so you know exactly what is going on. And if there's any updates, you got the updates right there coming through the radio, most likely. They'll update you whether they're in a vehicle. Maybe they're in a vehicle and stuff. But see, right here, this is more of a trickier one, because you don't really want to ride the curb, but here you kind of do have to ride the curb, but you don't want to cut across the curb like that and do all janky. See, there's people here walking. You don't want to hit them. Definitely don't want to hit the gas pumps. And once you arrive on scene, you're on scene, and you go to wherever you're needed. So that's how you code 3 drive. You definitely don't want to hit anybody. You don't want to do anything stupid. You don't want to do this and just fly around, because you're definitely going to hit somebody doing this. This is how you get into an accident right here. There's going to be one guy, see right there, nearly killed that guy because he's in the way. See, with this guy, see, killed him. Literally killed him. That's why you don't do that. And now you got bumper damage. You're lucky your lights are still working, but you never know. Same with trains. You never want to stop. I feel like it's common logic that people would do it in a video game. Stop right here on the train tracks. You can see a train right there. These are active railroads. You don't want to stop. You also don't want to get traffic to stop on here either. If you're responding, you can't really tell traffic not to stop here, but they will. And they will stop on the tracks, but typically you don't want to do that. You also don't want to do this and drive on the tracks. This is super unrealistic. If the suspect is on the roadway or something, you definitely don't want to do this. This is A, really slow, and B, super unrealistic. There is absolutely zero reason you should ever be driving on the train tracks. No one should be driving on the train tracks, not even civilians, but you're going to get that occasional civilian that wants to escape police. But our goal here to be cops is to set the example. If the civilians are doing bad, it's their fault. You can't do anything about that, and there's nothing you can do about it, and stuff like that. So just never drive on train tracks. You don't really want to mount curbs like this or this. You don't want to do that. You kind of want to respond in a normal road. You also should never be driving opposite lanes of traffic. I don't care how much the suspect is over here. And if you need to go to Legion Square here, I don't care. You go the other way around. You follow traffic laws. There's no reason to go head on. Public safety is number one. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to hit motorcycles either. See this motorcycle back here? If you're pursuing a motorcycle, you never want to hit them off. Literally one of our LEO rules. You don't want to do this. That is how you get a lawsuit. We have a court system. They will sue you. And you're gonna have to pay. The department won't pay for you. If you get a lawsuit for $30,000, you're paying $30,000. You will pay the fine that comes with hitting someone off their motorcycle. Don't want to hit people. See these things? You want to wait for those to go up. You don't want to run those over either. Some of those won't go up, so if it doesn't go up and you've been sitting there for like a couple seconds, then run it over. But see, they will go up. Some of them do, some of them won't. So you just don't want to hit them. There's absolutely no reason you should do that. You also don't really want, see, these are prime example. These don't move up. So if you need to get in here, you can knock those down, but I prefer you don't. If they don't go up, then you probably don't need to be in there. You also shouldn't be hitting cars in parking lots. Like, I mean, come on, people. It's not that difficult. If you're searching and you're just driving around, like you're searching for a car and you're searching these parking spots, there should be absolutely no reason you do something like that. That's stupid. Drive slow, drive careful. There should be no reason you're driving reckless unless someone is behind you and they're basically throwing sticky bombs at you, which should not be happening either. No one should be throwing sticky bombs at you. There should be absolutely no reason that you're doing any of that. Same here. If you need to go on the highway, you will take the on-ramp. You should not be doing this. No reason you should do that. That is no need for that either. So just play realistic. Pretend that your car is yours. If you keep crashing, we will have you do ride-alongs. We will not let you drive cars. We don't care how much you bitch, moan, complain to us. Absolutely no reason for it. No reason to do this. No reason to do this. Absolutely no reason to do this to get on the highway. See, like that. Just completely smashed your car trying to get on the highway here. You maybe saved a good couple seconds, but you completely wrecked your car. If you have damage like I have right now, go get a new cop car or go fix it. There's glitches where you can fix these cars so you don't have to go call the police and go get a new one. You also want to look when you do U-turns like that. See how I just hit that car? You want to look before you make your move. You don't want to just swerve around because you're the cop. The laws apply to you still. Nobody's above the law, and I will perform traffic stops on police officers. I don't care. Also, if you're making a U-turn, make it in this far over lane. Like, if you need to make a U-turn to get to a traffic stop, do it in this lane. There should be no reason you're making a U-turn from this lane. There's absolutely no reason. Like, if you're coming down, there should absolutely be no reason you're doing that. And if you need to get to the exit, better be ready to take that exit just like a normal car. Absolutely no reason you should be cutting cars off either. Even if you have your lights on, I don't want to see it. Now, something that you might need to do at some point during your lifetime is something I'd like to call a traffic brake. A lot of people call it a traffic brake. Some people call it swerving, but it's a traffic brake. And it's just this. Literally this. It just brakes traffic. If there's like a pursuit going on in front of you and you don't want traffic coming up behind you, or there's a traffic accident going on and you want to slow traffic down, you just swerve lane to lane. If traffic tries to pass you, you just will swerve in front of them, just like that. You take every lane and just drive. You go nice and slow. This is a little fast, but typically you do this. This is slow enough, and you're braking traffic. There's absolutely no reason traffic should be passing you. You got your lights on, and clearly you're swerving, taking up all the lanes. There should absolutely be no reason that AI should be passing you. You should be taking up all the space. If an AI is able to pass you, then you're doing something wrong here. You also want to make sure you cover the exits during a traffic break on the highway here, because of the fact that you don't want to get traffic. The reason for a traffic break is that so that we don't have traffic way up there interfering with us and they're out of the harm's way. You also don't want to do this. There should be no reason you should be skidding your tires. If you're sliding around, then you're going too fast or you're turning too much or something. Just go nice and slow and weave in and out. You don't need to go on the shoulders. You just need to stay in the lane. See how traffic's staying nicely behind me? There's absolutely no reason you should be doing anything like this. And typically, if you're doing this, we'll have a higher up do this, or if you're doing it, we're asking you to do a traffic break. You don't just do a traffic break on your own. Typically, it's a request upon a higher officer that someone does a traffic break, or a higher officer does it, because they already know what to do and they kind of know what's going on. If you're like a major or a commissioner, you pretty much know when you're going to need to do something. You've been at it for a little bit, you know stuff. And typically, the higher-ups within the department know the law, they know the amendments, they know people's rights, and they know how to be a cop correctly. They're typically not the ones being yelled at by other people that they're doing something wrong. You also want to stay in uniform at all time. There should be no reason you're out of uniform. But that's a traffic break. That's how to run code and stuff. So now let's get into how to clear buildings correctly, because that's something that you guys are going to somehow mess up. Typically done by the SWAT team, but it is also, you're also going to have to help out. Maybe we have low people in that roleplay. So, here's how to clear buildings. Alright, so here we have a more sophisticated scene. One that actually looks good. This is typically how we would do it in a reality scenario if we had props available to us and we had all these vehicles available to us, but we don't, and kind of stuck to cop cars. So typically we won't have it this massively shut down, but I thought I would explain how things are shut down just so that people know the gist of it and how things will typically work. Obviously, keeping the public out is number one. If we have a thing like we have going on right now, a robbery that we have to breach to get into because either no one is complying or we have bombs going off or something going on in there. But this is all the intersections are shut down. We got cones, we got cops and stuff. Here we have a slightly weirder angle and shape over here because of the fact that this car is kind of in a bad spot because of how the building is shaped, but that's kind of how that goes. But typically it will look more like this right here. We got a nice line, not straight, but you're not gonna get a straight line typically because everyone has to pull in and stuff. Here we have this. Obviously, Rockstar limits the amount of vehicles I could place down. So like a vehicle would typically be placed here. Obviously, every light would be on. Everyone have their lights on and stuff, but you can't turn lights on and stuff. But see, we would typically have an officer right here directing traffic and stuff, but again, limit on the NPCs we could have, and this is actually for training, not anything like that. It's breach training. See, we got another line down here of cop cars and cones and stuff. We have our little construction barriers right here on the sidewalk, making sure public doesn't come by. Everyone needs to stay far back. This is super far back from where the bank's located. But obviously we would have all these people on scene. We got the FBI, we got LSPD, we got SWAT on scene. So here's the main entrance. As you guys can see, there's no actual vehicle here, so we, at this point in time, we have no clue what their getaway vehicle would be, but that does not really matter. Maybe we know, maybe it's around back, who knows. But here's our first SWAT vehicle, and obviously I have the wrong gun in here, but you kind of be here, and this is kind of the first vehicle, and this is like a little kind of decoy type thing. They kind of stay here. Maybe this guy would be behind, but this guy's probably our negotiator who's on the cell phone with them. With the suspects inside. They've not given to anything. They've given ludicrous demands and stuff. But we have the main force over here, which is where we would be breaching at. So here's how breaches typically work. We have 4 guys on this side. We have 4 guys on the other side, and then we have one guy in the middle. So we have a total of 9 people. So typically that will involve 2 SWAT teams because only 4 people can be fit into a SWAT van, and typically teams are made up of 8. So you typically have a joint team here, but sometimes you have 10 on your team. just really depends. But see, this guy here in the middle here, he has a shotgun here because he's in the front shotgun. Back will have the rifles in the back. Typically, if we typically we'll throw maybe a normal officer in the back or something, just because they have jurisdiction over a SWAT team. They don't really arrest people, they kind of just do special tactics and weapons, kind of the point of SWAT. But we got 2 shotguns, 2 assault rifles, and then we have this one guy who will kick the door down, blow the door down, really do whatever needs to be done. But if once we breach, everyone will come in. Well, that lasted long. I don't fucking know what that was. But to get to my point, you will typically go in and clear the building like normal. You typically will go in as a team, and normally you won't split up. You guys will stay together. If you guys do split up, you're probably splitting into 2 separate teams. There's 9 of you. So normally you might have a 3, 3, and 3 all go together and split up into teams of 3. But sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. You'll just enter the building and continue clearing around. You enter here and you're just clear around. You're take whoever into custody you need to take. You're clear the entire building, front to back. Typically you have other people with you, so you won't have to do you won't have to do the entire building. Kind of just have to do your sections. Typically we will know what sections you need to do. And whenever you're going upstairs, something that people tend to forget is that you need to look backwards while going upstairs and not straight. You need to turn around before you start going up the stairs so that you can see up before you get to the top, because from right here, if I was standing right here, you get to that point right there and you're still facing the wall, and then you turn facing that wall, you're popped in the head. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're dead right there. You're being shot, you're wounded, you're out of it. So obviously you're just clear the building like normal. Breach in with the SWAT team, clear every room inch by inch. You have to check before you enter buildings. You typically check the room before you enter by just peeking the door open, because there's absolutely, you shouldn't just go in there blind. Like if you're going in there like this, they're gonna shoot you if they're behind the desk. You want to check before going in. You want to peek around the corner, pop open the door before going in. When you're going downstairs, like here, you don't want to go down like this. You want to go down like this, just to check and make sure you can see what's going on and stuff. And then same here. Typically you would have another team with you that would have cleared that section there. So if you're in the front, you typically stay there. If you're in the back, you typically continue moving and continue checking stuff. You definitely want to check under the stairs and places like that before proceeding forward. You want to check the entire space. You want to go the entire way just to make sure, because even right here, you can't really hide here, but people will find a way to hide. See, right here, you can easily hide, and no one will see you. You just hide right here, no one will know you're there. So once you clear the entire building, you'll be able to go and leave the building. You got all your suspects in jail, you arrested any hostages, you go and confiscate any money that might have been taken, take any CCTV that could be used for the court hearing. Obviously, court hearings in this server in particular are optional, but not every server has that. Sometimes court hearings are mandatory, sometimes they're not. It really just depends on the server. Most servers don't even have a court system. If a server has a court system, that's really nice, because that avoids any officers that are just going to just arrest you without fully investigating, without proving. They just go on a hunch and arrest you. You can get that time taken off and that taken off your record. Thing with the cat is we can clear stuff, so if you're found not guilty of the crime, then obviously that. But let's show another example at the abandoned motel. Alright, so here's another example at the abandoned motel, because here, this is typically where you're going to clear. Most roleplays will happen around the map. I like to change it up a little bit. Some people like to keep it in Blaine County, but I like the city. I don't really like the county. I kind of stick to the highway. That's typically why I choose state police or highway patrol. Mainly because I can fluctuate around the city and the highway. I don't really need to be in the county, but typically you have multiple people with you, and you have to clear every room. There's no rooms downstairs, so obviously you can only go upstairs. You typically have someone clearing with you, maybe 2 or 3 people with you, and you have someone going up the stairs like this behind you, and whoever's last in line will, no matter what, be walking like this behind you. If you've seen videos, it's on a rise, school shootings. Police do I'm gonna call a 4-way clear, where one stands behind, one stands this way, one stands this way, and one stands straight, and they all clear. Obviously here you don't need to do that, but you would typically go into like your little stealth mode just so that people can't hear you coming around. You turn on your flashlight if you need to, and you're typically clear with your people around, and you're clear every little inch of the building. You're clear the bathroom, and then here you typically have that guy behind you, and you have other people, so you don't really need to worry about it. Like here, when you peek out this way, someone will peek out the other way and keep your back covered. You just need to work as a team and figure things out. You need to coordinate with them and make sure they're with you. Typically when you're about to breach, like if we knew for a fact we're breaching this room, we will, typically what I will do is I'll make sure everyone's ready. I'll do 3, 2, 1, breach. And when I say 3, 2, 1, breach, that's me counting down. Make sure everyone knows, hey, we're breaching in 3, 2, 1, so everyone's able to follow with me. And everyone knows. Not everyone does that, but I typically do that because I feel like that makes us more coordinated, and I feel like that gives a little more realism to it. But I know not every person will count down 3, 2, 1, breach. They'll just say, move in, or on me. And a couple things I want you to remember is a couple terms. And if we were to breach, let's find a good spot to pretend breach so that I can show you a couple things. I feel like this would be a good spot to do it in because there's this section and this section. So if we're about to breach, I might tell you to get on me. If I say get on me, that means you're going to be behind me. If someone tells you mirror me, that means do the same as what they're doing, just on the complete other side. So typically when you guys enter a building and you're like this, you guys will be steps apart, and they will enter first. They'll do 3, 2, 1, breach. They will enter at the same time you enter. You enter facing this way. They enter facing this way. And you guys will clear like this. And then other people with you guys will clear. You don't want to go forward yet. You want to continue clearing over here and make sure everything's clear. You also will announce as you're clearing, like 3, 2, 1, breach. You guys enter. Main room's clear. Bathroom clear. Dining room clear. Things like that. You just will announce as you clear things, and then you guys will continue moving on through the entire building and clear every inch. You will clear every exit, every entrance, every bathroom, every little inch of this building. There should be no reason that you can't clear the entire building. It might be a little difficult to clear this building because there's a lot of rooms and easy to miss. And there's also a lot of flank points. Like here in the bathroom here, it's really easy to stand here with a shotgun in the corner. I don't have a shotgun to show you, but it's really easy to stand here in the corner with a shotgun and shoot as you walk past. So you want to make sure you clear each bathroom before you walk past it. You want to clear every little area before you walk past it, because there's an easy ambush point really anywhere. Even if they're on that side of the building, I don't expect you to clear like this, but typically someone should be at least paying attention to their surroundings. Make sure nothing is going on and stuff prior to getting to that side. Once you clear this entire building, same thing, other building, and you will do that until you find the suspects or whatnot. Even if you know you're looking for one suspect, you still clear the entire building. If you find a suspect in this building, you still will send officers over to clear the other building. Make sure they didn't meet up with anyone. Make sure there's nothing over there. Maybe they ditched a weapon over there and ran to this side. So you just want to make sure you got everything cleared. But now that we've done this, there's something I do want to talk about that I can't really show since it is a pursuits thing. But typically, when it is pursuits, you will be pursuing them. Primary will focus on driving. Secondary will be doing call-outs. So typically you want to, when you're secondary doing call-outs, you want to announce what road they're on, where they're at. So right there, it's right turn Joshua Road. And you guys continue down. This is a left turn onto a dirt road that parallels the train tracks. So officers know that you're on a dirt road that parallels the train tracks. Your last call out was Joshua Road, so really there's no excuse that they don't know where you're at. If they don't know the map, that's kind of their fault. They can press pause if they absolutely need to find you, but typically I tell you not to do that because you risk really any repercussions from that. Obviously, we allow you to check your map and check directions, but see, right there, you want to go slow over that. You don't want to destroy your car. There should be no reason for that. If the suspect's on a dirt bike and they turn up the mountain, you do not follow them up the mountain. This is not what you do. You do not do this. You're in a little Crown Victoria. You do not need to start fucking rock climbing. You're not in some movie. This is a real life role play. We try to keep realism. Some of us enjoy realism. Obviously, some of us enjoy doing some non-realistic things sometimes, but that's typically a role play scenario, not as to say following them like that. And see right here, you wanna see right there, didn't clear anything, didn't check, didn't do anything. That's my fault, and you will be held liable for that. You want to typically keep callouts pretty short, simple, and stuff. Typically, the radio will be given to you. You don't want to crash into people. You don't want to be driving drunk, see? That's stupidity. Even if you're just driving around, you don't want to crash into people. If you crash into someone, stop, exchange information. You have an insurance card with the department, so use it. You don't want to drive opposite lanes either. There should be no reason for this. But just like here, we're going Joshua Road, coming up to Route 68. Stand by for direction of travel. Suspect will be making a right turn, Route 68, passing by the hotel. Continuing Route 68, passing by the Animal Ark. You guys continue running down. Continuing Route 68, passing by Rebel Radio. You continue down. Suspects continuing Route 68, passing by the LS Customs. You just will continue giving call-outs so they know where you're at. Suspects continuing Route 68, passing fruit stand. Just so that officers know where you're at, and if they're nearby, they can help out. Because Route 68 is pretty big. Suspects continuing Route 68, passing by satellite dishes. Everyone knows where you're located. Everyone knows where the satellite dishes are. If you don't know where the satellite dishes are, you might want to Google them. Might want to figure it out. Suspects making a left turn, Route 13, heading towards Grapeseed. Now everyone knows you're Route 13, heading towards Grapeseed. Any unit patrolling out in Grapeseed knows, hey, maybe I should go make my way over to Route 13 in case they need my help, and dispatch might attach me to the call because dispatch knows where you're located. Continuing Route 13, passing by the tools place. Couldn't think of the name there and I couldn't read it. The U-Tool, passing by the U-Tool. I don't know why I went blank there. Continuing Route 13, passing by the silos. Coming up to the Joshua Cross. Continuing Route 13, passing the Joshua intersection. You just will continue giving call-outs during pursuits and stuff. There's a 5-minute pit timer, so dispatch will advise you when that 5-minute timer's up. When that 5-minute timer's up, you will have to radio the dispatch call sign requesting a pit maneuver. Dispatch might ask you for traffic conditions, weather conditions, things like that. If it's a dark, rainy night, pitting might not be best. If it's the middle of nowhere and it's a sunny day, pitting might be good. Like right here, this is a perfect opportunity for a pit maneuver. Preferably this way, towards the fence, and not this way into the ditch, because we don't want to kill the suspect. That's typically not best. If you kill the suspect, that kind of defeats a lot of purposes of doing the whole pursuit, because of the fact that you risk your life and everyone else's life to just have a suspect dead. And typically they committed a crime, so they should pay for it. We don't really want to kill them unless they committed like 18 murders and qualify for the death penalty, but that's a different story. But you want to give call-outs short, simple. Don't want to take up a minute of radio time just to give simple call-outs and stuff. So now we have one last thing that need to be trained on, and that is arrest warrants and search warrants, which typically won't be happening. This will typically be warrant services that does it, and the SWAT team that does it, but might as well show you anyway, because I never know who's going to want to do what, and you might need to be called in the action because of the fact that we might not have enough people to do it, or we might not have certain people online, and search warrants have deadlines to meet. We have to meet those deadlines. There's expiration dates. You request it, judge will give you a expiration date. When that expires, you have to re-request and get it approved again. And because one judge approved it does not mean another judge will. So you better hope you get the same judge, because typically a judge will accept it, and if that expiration date passes, maybe that judge isn't online at that time when another judge accepts it or declines it. Now that judge has declined it, you have to go and work on information, because obviously there's something wrong with it. If not every judge will accept it, then one judge was being a little lenient and another one's being pretty strict. So you want to make sure you meet those deadlines and stuff. So we might need to call a couple officers out. Even if you're a county unit, you might be called down to perform a search warrant down at Grove Street, or if you're a city unit, might be called up here to perform an arrest warrant if we need somebody. If you're the only warrant services online, you might be loaned by the state police or loaned by the county units. If you're a city unit, you might be loaned by county to come perform a search warrant. So it really depends. It's a case-by-case basis. You want to make sure you're prepared for everything. So let's show you how this is done. Alright, so on to search warrants now and arrest warrants. Typically when a search warrant is approved, we will get a slick top unit, a non-marked unit down here to watch the area, make sure we monitor who's entering and leaving the premises, because we might need to know something. Like if someone leaves, we need to know when he's gone, because if it's an arrest warrant, we can't just show up to his house and him not be there. And if it's a search warrant and we see that a bunch of children entered the house, or a million people just entered, might not be the best plan to act on that search warrant right now. But if we have been watching the house and don't see anything going on, we will know what's going on. We typically will have someone watching the house, whether it's up there with some binoculars, right there, you can't even really see him from over here. And we also there's also a car around back watching the back doors. So typically you'll have two cars, one on the back, one on the front, just watching the house. We'll get as many officers as we need set to watch the house. The car's somewhere back here, right here. And typically if you do something like this, you're going to need a permission from the homeowner to do this. So I wouldn't just recommend posting up here. You'd need permission from the homeowner, which in this case we have permission from the homeowner to park our car there and watch the house. If no one lives there, then you kind of have to figure it out for yourself. Maybe contact your higher up, see what they want you to do, because obviously you take the shaft from the higher up if you do something wrong on your own account. But if you do it based on the supervisor's request, then it's their fault, not yours. not much there. So obviously we have a search warrant here. It is a search warrant in joint with the FBI. As you can tell, there's FBI vehicles, there's FBI people. So let's get into the search/arrest warrant. So whatever they did something federal, and we have people here. So we have SWAT, we have LSPD, and we have the FBI in the back. Typically we will line up like this with police in the front and then FBI in the back, starting with the SWAT team. And we will typically close in on both doors, but you don't want to stand at a window or at a door, really. Like right here would be a bad spot to set up. So we have both sides equal: SWAT, police, FBI. This side has one less on it, but that could be for any reason. It doesn't really matter why it's like that. But we will typically close in together, search the house together and stuff, and the FBI will do whatever they need. So obviously if the FBI is on scene, they are the leaders. If it's a normal case, whoever the highest supervisor within that department is, whoever's leading the case. So if it's like a CSI investigation or a detective investigation to a homicide that happened a week ago, that detective is lead on the case. You listen to that detective. If the FBI's on case, you listen to the supervisory special agent on scene, or the special agent in charge, assistant special agent in charge, whoever's in charge of that scene, whoever's scene it is, whoever's the one that's going to get shaft from the director is the one that you listen to. Typically, we will do this and you will know information about the search warrant. We'll typically have a briefing at a police station, FBI building, or SWAT headquarters or something prior to performing it, but it's just done as like a normal warrant. Since we're searching this house or we're arresting someone in this house, obviously we can't enter. You can buy this house in GTA, so if that is the case, someone does own it, they invite you in, you can't bring your weapons in, unfortunately. But if it's just an arrest warrant or a search warrant, you can get an invite in or buzz in, and they are probably gonna have to let you in because that's not really their choice. Obviously you can knock on the door and stuff like that, but depending on the search warrant, it might be a daytime only warrant. It might be a no-knock search warrant. If it's a no-knock search warrant, you just walk up, someone will come up with a hammer and they will bash the door down. They'll come over the hall again, open the door. They'll open the door somehow, whether they blow it open or something. Just no-knock warrant. Don't know you're coming in. Obviously the units that were watching the house will be on scene now. Whoever's around back can probably stick around back. Typically, we might have 1 or 2 officers stick around back and just be right here in case they leave out the back. We're going to make sure no one leaves out the back, because that's an easy escape to get away with whatever they did. So typically you'll walk up and you're do this against the door. This signifies you're inside. Some people might go passive mode, some might not, because if you go passive mode, you just can't really roleplay if you go passive mode. But like if you're gonna sit here and you're a civilian, you don't really need to be here. You can go passive mode just to pretend you're inside. Harder to see you as well. So typically you go to the in-game chat, whether it's on your phone or your computer, and you type in /me searches house, what do I find, and they will reply to whatever. It's really dependent on who the civilian is, who the officer is, so do it however you feel like doing it in-game chat, but typically it's done /me searches house. You can do /me searches every part of the house individually, and like do /me searches bedroom, /me searches living room, /me searches kitchen, /me searches basement, /me searches guest bedroom, /me searches bathroom. You can do it that way if you wanted to, but sometimes it might be better to do it one way or the other. It really depends. Just, if you have any questions about anything, typically your highest ranking officer should be able to answer, or an FBI agent or SWAT member, or maybe a friend that's within the department with you or something. It really depends on how it goes, but this is a simple little search warrant. Obviously there's other places that we could do it, like Michael's house. If we were at Michael's house, that's a little harder, but there's no interior. to Michael's house, in online at least. But if there's an interior to the building, like you can actually enter, like we're searching a LDT or something, or 24/7, then you will typically go in, clear it like normal, like you just were taught, and same thing here, kind of put 2 and 2 together. So really, if you have any questions about anything, just you can literally ask literally any supervisor and they should be able to answer. There's an entire channel dedicated to questions. Ask there. You can even ask in the comments of this video and we'll respond to it. It's not that difficult and everyone should be able to get used to it. It might take a little bit to get used to it. Obviously every scene's different, but this is like a little base knowledge thing. So just a few things to remember: the 5-minute pit timer, stay short on the radio, don't crash, play realistic, and have fun, I guess. If you can have fun, because some people get stressed while being a cop, others don't. And sometimes you can get ticked off being a cop as well, because like you get fed up with someone being stupid on a traffic stop, or someone's not listening to you, or maybe your supervisor's getting on your nerve because it feels like they're shafting you from a lot of things and they're having you do things. But the thing with being a police officer is traffic control's a big one. See right here, we got this guy trying to enter. This guy here would be our traffic control guy. These guys are kind of just backup support people. If like shit pops off, they're here and they can start popping shots if they need to. Maybe not a good idea to pop shots off in the middle of the road like that. So typically we will have a bunch of sirens. Typically when we're doing something like this, we will have normal cop cars and stuff, just so that we don't have issues like this. And obviously if the lights are on, they won't go around. We already proved that later or earlier. So not that difficult. Figure it out. And any questions, people are happy to help. If you want extensive training on something, let us know and we'll give you a ride along and give you an extensive training. Obviously you still have your probationary period, so you still have to do your ride along, but this is a good reference point so that you know what to do. Maybe speed up your probationary period and get into a cop car sooner. Maybe you like ride alongs, who knows? You can be you. It's your character. Be an asshole cop, be a nice cop, be a middle cop, really whatever you want to be. Just make sure you're in CAD and you're always using 10 codes and the alphabet when running license plates. Like, I don't want to hear you come over and say 63XY0743. You should go 63XY yo-yo 0743. I don't want to hear you say it really fast, dude, like 63XY0743. That's, no one's going to get that. You want to say it nice and slow. 63 X-ray Yankee 0743. You want to say it nice and slow. Everyone heard it. Everyone knows what they're looking for. It's on your dash cam, on your body cam, and everyone knows what it is. So make sure you just play realistically, follow roleplay rules, don't fail roleplay vehicle damage, and if you have 18 guns pointed to your head, don't play Mr. Hero. Let them take you. We'll find you. We have FBI, and people have been ex-FBI as well, because I've literally ran an FBI before in a server. So there's absolutely a reason why we can't find you. Obviously you might die, but that might just be them being assholes on their part, because typically you don't kill officers and you don't destroy vehicles. So yeah. Just have fun and roleplay. I'll stop rambling now. You're probably bored. Training videos are typically boring, but it gets you around and stuff. So if you don't really know what you're doing, it's your first time, you want to try something different, that's how you do it. And maybe this gets you more into it. Maybe you're like, oh, I don't want to do that. You can request a department transfer. So just enjoy the roleplay.